And me asking God, like, why I'm confused, right? And explaining to me, baby, the only way I can give you an understanding of why is if I give you the experience. And I said, I'm good, because words don't teach, experience does. And so for me, growing up as the oldest of seven, not having anyone in front of me to witness how to do life, how to get through this, I just went into prayer, supplication, and faith in myself and God, and I became very resilient.
And the fact that she would even say that, it's a justification people use for why they didn't heed wisdom originally. They say, well, I had to go through that to get where I am now. Instead of just saying, hey, look, I was foolish. People gave me good wisdom. I didn't take it. It's not just incorrect. It's a very dangerous way of looking at the world.
Previously on Vulcan Soapbox.
The one thing that stood out, she said, words don't teach, experience does. That stood out to me. Do you agree or disagree?
Disagree.
All right.
I'm in the middle. I see her point, but it's not necessarily true.
Okay, so, all right, got to choose now.
We gonna disagree.
All right.
I agree.
All right.
Disagree.
All right, Chandler.
Feel me?
I disagree.
Disagree.
I vehemently disagree.
All right. I got one person that agree.
So experience is, my thought process, I'm equating experience with action. To experience something, it's something that there's something that has happened for you to be able to say that you've experienced it. You had the ability to speak on what it looked like or feel like or sound like. Or, in my understanding, how one learns. Um, we that's how we best learn. I think the greater teacher actually is where I'm coming from with that.
So the
It's
best, just to sum up what you're saying, the best experience, best teachers is your experience, right? Is that what you're saying?
yeah.
All right.
I disagree because the foundation that I'm going to go by is what God says about this particular subject. He says it's good for a man to learn from his experiences, but a wise man learns from the experience of others. So I'm going to go with that and go, look, you do not have to experience it to learn it best. Now you can experience it and learn it, but if God say the best way, it's wiser to learn it from somebody else experiencing it, then that's where I got to go.
I kind of want to piggyback off of that a little bit. Like, as a parent, you want your children to be better than you, so you teach them by experience. The things that I saw growing up in the environment that I lived in isn't the environments that my kids live in. They are in a more positive environment. Therefore, they have more knowledge and positivity than I had at their age already. So because I created those environments and I put them in the right words, that had them in right words, you don't necessarily have to experience something to know better than not to do it.
I'm changing my answer, baby. I I disagree. I'm gonna take it like this, right? Words don't teach, experience does. She ain't necessarily say her experience. Now, maybe when we play more context, that's what she talking about. But just taking that phrase, experience of others, going along with what Derek said, experience of others can teach you. And so looking at that line of statement, she didn't say whose experiences. So I can learn from other people's experience. And so in that case, I do agree that other people's experiences I can learn from.
Based on what she said, if she had to say anything other than words don't teach, experience does, I might have agreed, or we might have had more of a conversation. But based on the fact that she said words don't teach, is actually inaccurate. Even to the point where other people are talking about other people's experience, because there's very learned doctors and physicists and even biologists who are who are learned it about theoretical sciences. So you can learn from anything. You can learn from reading a book. You can learn from being taught by people who've never experienced the things that they're teaching. I know it's very cut and dry, but I tend to take people at their word. And she had her statement was like so laden with cliches that it was hard for me to. I choose not to assume what she's talking about until she tells me what she's talking about. So far, she said words don't teach, and that's not true.
Vulcan.
So I wanted to start off with the quote: "We do not learn from experience; we learn from reflecting upon experiences." And that's pretty much what Sarah was mentioning earlier. You know, what the lady is saying is turning wisdom upside down, as Derek pointed out as well. You know, experience has to be like the last hope for us to learn. But unfortunately, some things we experience take us out the game. You know, if it says don't walk, don't. If I tell somebody, hey, don't walk in that street without looking both ways and making sure there's no cars. Experience is a whole better way to learn in that situation. I'm sure we all agree with that. They go through the experience and they can't just accept what happened is them making a mistake like we all do. They have to find some way of redeeming it and maybe even becoming some type of martyr for wisdom. So no, we learn from our reflection of experience if we're able to come out of that. And we can learn from other people's experience, which they catechize, they put it into doctrine and teaching, and they teach it to others so that they may be able to learn from it, from their experience or the experience of those who came before them. So yeah, I definitely disagree with it. I think also it's not just incorrect, it's a very dangerous way of looking at the world.
Especially because experience is very limited. So experience could be subjective. So it could be definitely misleading to others. The way one person interprets is going to be different how another person interprets it. But with words, but particularly like science, philosophy, it definitely could frame or even test ideas to make it more universally, where it could provide like a stable foundation for knowledge.
I think it's interesting, you know, when you start dissecting the statement and learn from the experiences of other people. And then I was thinking, how would you learn from the experiences from other people? Somebody would have to tell you, which means it would have been in words.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah, I think the thing is when she made the absolute statement of saying you can't,
Yeah.
like it that messes the whole thing up.
And unfortunately, many of us who are very hard-headed, you know, what the scriptures say, a person who is stiff-necked will soon be broken beyond remedy. That brokenness comes in that experience that you had to go through because you didn't heed the wisdom of those who came before you or those who had wisdom you didn't have. So I said to say that this is a lady who's a well-known, renowned therapist.
Yes, sir.
Vows and beliefs. And that's why I'm telling you, I get nervous. Anytime I hear black people start rhyming, I get nervous.
Tread lightly,
You know,
brother. Tread
through
lightly.
you and through you. And when I'm hearing, you know, because when we start rhyming and stuff like that, we care more about the vibe and the feeling and the energy that it gives us than it actually being correct. I'm not saying rhyming is wrong. I'm just saying if you hear black people start rhyming, make sure you're tuning in. Be a Berean. I'm here to stand on my soapbox and proclaim that to the world.
On this show.
This is the hottest show on the planet right now.
What's the debate?
Ain't no debate.